I recently had the pleasure of meeting 16-year-old Jamie Isaacs several weeks ago on our show. If you don't remember, Jamie Isaacs was a victim of teen bullying. My guests today are also victims of teen bullying back when they were teenagers and are here to share their stories today. But they were bullied for a different reason. They were bullied because they were gay. They're going to share their stories today and hopes to bring hope to others out there who are struggling with bullies because of their sexuality. Please stay with us today as our guests today share their stories of what it was like coming out as teenagers and overcoming bullying. Please stay with us. Hi and welcome. My guests on today's show were also victims of bullying, just like Jamie Isaacs was when she was here several weeks ago. But they were bullied for a different reason. They were bullied and picked on because they were gay. For some, the pain is so intolerable that they feel they have no other way out but to take their own lives. We're here today to hopefully prevent that from happening any further today, and my guests today are going to share their stories on what it was like for them to come out and find the strength to pull through. Thank all three of you for being here today. Please say hello to Derek, Trevor, and Matthew. They're our guests today. Guys, thank you so much for being here today on such an important topic. Now, we've read it in the papers, we've seen it in the news. So many people are taking their lives because they're picked on and bullied for being gay. Derek, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Something similar happened to you when you were in high school.
Yes.
You were also picked on and bullied.
Yes.
Tell me about it. What happened?
It actually started towards the 5th grade. It wasn't as bad as I got into high school and middle school, but it was there. So I kind of like dealt with it and like kind of like brush it off, like, oh yeah, they'll stop eventually. But then as I got into middle school, it progressed even more. So once they found out I was gay, they kind of took it into their own hands, like, oh, well, let's torture him because he's gay.
Now, did they suspect that you were gay? I mean, you weren't even out at all yet.
No, I wasn't out yet, but they knew. Like, without me even saying it, they knew. So It's like, okay, like...
So what was everyday life for you like in school and elementary going through this? What would they do to you?
They would torture me. They would call me names. They would pick on me. So it's like, once they picked on me and, like, torturing me, they would call me fat, ugly, and all that. I wouldn't eat as much.
Right.
Because maybe if I thought to myself, maybe if I didn't eat, they would stop picking on me. And if they would call me gay, I would say I'm straight, so they wouldn't pick on me. So I would like contradict myself to make me, to make the day go on,
Right.
so I don't live in that kind of pressure.
Now, the letter that you had sent to us, you did mention that you were also overweight at that age.
Yes,
too.
I was.
Did that contribute to it as well? Were they making fun of you because of your weight?
I was. I started eating more because of the stress buildup, so my only option was to comfort myself was to food because... It's a really relaxing. So I ate so much, it got to the point where I almost had diabetes. So he said if I don't control what I eat, I could be a diabetic. So I lost weight gradually, and as I grew up, I got taller, so I slimmed down a little bit, but... Yeah,
but still, I mean, I can imagine. I mean, what were some of the names that they would call you?
They would call me the F word a lot. They would throw that out like it's nothing. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't get offended. Each time they would say it, a little more of me got upset and I would break down a little bit. They would call me that. They would call me fat, obese. They would say, oh, your parents wouldn't love you because look at yourself. How could anyone love you? So
honestly, I mean, it takes me back to my high school days. Not that so much of it happened to me. I mean, I was picked on as well because people just kind of know that you are gay.
Yeah.
And even before you come out, because I was definitely not out at all in high school. Other people knew apparently that I was, but I was also called the derogatory names and things like that, so it definitely does hurt your feelings, and you tried everything to fit in with these kids.
I did.
You even tried drugs, you say.
Yeah. I turned to that because maybe, ooh, wow, if I tried that, they would like me more.
Now, were they doing that as well as that?
Yeah.
All right, so you basically tried everything just to fit in with these kids.
I did cheerleading for myself, not because they wanted me to. I did for myself because I thought, wow, if I did something to better myself in high school, to not get picked on, I would like it more. So I did cheerleading for a while. I liked it myself. The other people didn't like it, so I was like, why should it matter to them? Exactly. They're not me. They don't go home with me, wipe my butt,
Yeah.
I do that myself.
Now, Now, you mentioned in your letter to us as well that there was a time that 7 boys had actually ganged up
Yes.
and had beat you up.
Yes, it was during school, during passing time actually. I was in school, I was walking with my friend, she went to class early to make up homework. I was walking by myself and so happened this kid that I didn't like, and he was with his other friends. Like, the gym was at a corner, so they threw me in a corner and they would beat me up, they would punch me in the mouth. Then it got to the point where they kicked me in my stomach close to my ribs, and I was with blood, and a teacher was like, "Oh, what happened?" I was like, I got beat up. Can't you see the blood?" She was like, "Oh, well, you need to go to the nurse." And I took it to
Nothing was ever done.
Nothing was ever done. I went to the assistant principal. He said, "Oh, well, there's nothing we can really do, but just give him, suspension or pass room." So I was like, that's really not good enough for myself.
Exactly.
So then I went to the principal, the higher. Then he didn't do anything. He told me the same thing, like, "Oh, we'll just give him pass room and detention." So I was like, okay, that's really not good enough. So then he insisted if you want to go to the police, you can file charges against him. I go down to the precinct. He said, you really can't do anything because he's underage. So then I told my mom, I was like, then why would my principal tell me that?
Yeah.
So it progressively got worse after that point, where I wouldn't go to school. I would hate going to school. I would not do my homework. I would show up late. I would turn into bad influence, and I didn't want to upset my mom, but at that point, I mean...
So you've been through a lot. Did you find that each year you went on in school that something specific happened and maybe worse?
Yeah, each year. So our 9th grade was not that bad, but it progressively got worse as each grade went on.
Okay. So I'm sure that your mom had gotten in touch with these parents, or at least tried to, and their parents never did anything about this?
She wanted to, and I tried to stop her because I was like, don't embarrass me. You're just going to make it worse. Because that's what I thought. Like, if she does that, it's going to make it worse than it already is. From what I understood, the parents had no idea that they would do it. So I'll be like, oh, okay. But, you could allow your son to give someone a name like that and say it like it's nothing.
Now, I actually got, when I read your story, when you had sent it over to us to be on the show, I actually got kind of chills and some tears in my eyes. You were contemplating suicide at one
Yeah,
time.
at one point, it got to a point where I was severely depressed with myself. I would just sit in my room late at night and just think about, wow, what if I, get a piece of rope hanging from the fan, make myself okay? Or if I cross over Mill Country Road, if I get hit by a bus, the pain will stop, because I just wanted it to stop. So the only option for me to do was kind of turn to hurting myself,
But you obviously found the strength to pull through.
Yeah, I
did.
did.
You get through all this, and I mean, look at you now. You're a gorgeous young man now, and I'm so glad that you're here and you didn't take your life. And that's really what we're promoting today is life and not suicide.
Right.
So what got you out of this?
YouTube, basically. Kids showing that they went through the same stuff I did, but they took a stand for what's right for themselves, and I was like, wow, okay, So I looked into that more than, reading stories about how kids, overcome it. They would say, go to your teachers, go to your counselors or principals, they will help you out. What really wasn't the case for me, because none of them would handle a situation like that. The counselor I went to, she said, well, if you sit in a room with them, it could ease up. But I told her, I was like, why? They're just going to say what they want to say because you're in the room with them. Right. It's not going to be between me and him. It's going to be me, him, and you. So I was like, that won't do anything.
Unreal.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, what's out there. I mean, you knew from a very young age that you were gay? You were just...
I knew. I was the type to not listen to myself that I was. So, I mean, I would say, yeah, I'm gay. Then next week, might be bi. Next week, oh, I'm straight. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, it's such a gray area at such a young age.
It is.
And people really don't understand that, because I myself was kind of like in that gray area. I didn't know where to go or what
which way was out.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I never really thought of suicide because I wasn't bullied to that extent, but I was definitely picked on and called the derogatory names. But I just, like you, I wanted to spend the least amount of time in school, especially gym class.
Oh my God, that was even worse. When they would make you do the mile run in front of everyone, they would make comments like, oh yeah, look at that, if you can't run that fast, like, you're just destroying yourself and everyone else's life.
And how did your parents take it when you came out to them?
My mom, she knew. I told her I was actually doing dishes with her after dinner. funny story, actually.
She's in the audience today, Mom. Hi, Mom. Thank you for coming today.
And I was like, Mom, would you still love me if I was gay? She was like, of course I will. You're my son. I love everything about you. So I was like, okay, so I'm gay. And I was
Positive response. So
yeah.
I think, too, having that strong family background behind you, too, really helps you get through
Definitely.
a lot. Mom's nodding. I mean, she looks like she's a great mom. I met her for a couple of seconds before
she's
the
amazing.
show. So, well, thank you so much.
You're
I mean,
welcome.
please stay with us and chime in throughout the show. I'm going
I
to move
will.
on to you now, Trevor. Now, Trevor,
Right.
you weren't exactly beat up or bullied, you would say. in
Not
school.
necessarily. I actually had my story is a little bit different. I had actually I escaped into sports to get rid to ease my pain. I became a gymnast, an avid gymnast for up until my college career, and that was my big escape from the world. I mean, from all like the derogatory remarks and everything. But in addition to that, I also had a very good tight group of friends that they knew my sexuality even before I came out of the closet. By the time I came out, they were kind of like, they all said about time. So it made it
I
really
think that's what you guys said, too. I'm looking
made
at
it
my
really
friend
easy.
Sally's on camera.
it made it really easy for me when I came out. So, but I mean, school, high school, middle school, elementary school is not an easy place for anyone.
No.
On top of that, when you're gay and you feel lost and alone, you feel angry, and you just hearing all the names just makes you want to just cry every night
Yeah,
to your sleep.
absolutely.
Every night. It's
I mean, people are
ridiculous.
bullied for so many different reasons. I mean, I've read stories where people are bullied for their weight, for their looks, not only just for being gay, but, you know, it all still hurts the same no matter what it is, because they're trying to put you down. But, again, you're obviously a survivor. You're here today. You
Thank you.
didn't take your own life, as so many do. And it really breaks my heart when I read those stories, especially when I read Derek's story that he had contemplated it at some time. But, I mean, when you were in school, what would they say to you, or what would they do to you?
They would say the word that always dug under my skin was the word fag, and it like even still to this day I get very on edge when I hear it, and even when my friends use it as a joke, I don't think it's a joke at all.
Right.
And that was the one word that I think is the most derogatory of anything, of all words. I mean, there are other certain words that I'm not going to say right now. But just in accumulation with that, it makes your head want to explode.
Absolutely.
And eventually you just get so angry, so like you need an outlet. So my outlet became sports, and that's where I put a lot of my anger into. And it was actually it helped, but
Yeah.
it didn't take away the pain in school.
Absolutely. If anything, it may have just covered it for you. Or
It was a mask. And if it wasn't for my friends that I had in school, I don't know where I would be right now. I mean, it's for the friends in my school that I'm very thankful for, because if I wasn't there to defend myself, they were. So it was good to know that, like, you know what, if you have those tight group of friends that are never going to judge you for anything,
They have your back.
they have exactly, they have your back for
Yeah.
everything. And so, and I think that's the most important aspect that especially the younger gay community needs to have, is that surround yourself with the friends that you know you have. Don't try and make other people like you. Just be who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
pretty much the word.
and I took that stance, and I mean, I was one of the first people to come out in my high school, and it was not an easy road, but
Yeah.
I was ready to do it, and I knew I was only ready to do it because I had my friends behind my back.
Good,
so.
good for you. So you obviously, they gave you the strength to pull through all this.
Without a doubt.
So, I mean, what did it do to your self-esteem when these kids would call you these names and make remarks to you?
It got painful, and then eventually I just learned to disassociate myself with it, because you can either have two choices. You can either just let it sit there and consume you, or you can just say, you know what, brush it off. And eventually, like, it's easier said than done, but as long as you have a proactive outlet to release that anger, then it makes it a lot easier to bear with that. So you don't have to fear going to school each day.
Yeah, I mean, so many do. I mean, I read a statistic one time that one in however many students, or no, several, it was like 7 out of 10 don't ever want to go to school because they're bullied. And,
Yep.
and school is so important when you're so young to become the person that you are. So you would think that when you send your kids off to school that they're totally safe for the 8 hours that they're there, but it's not always the case. And in Derek's case, and even like Jamie, our prior guest several weeks ago, school districts did nothing to help.
Yeah, they turn their
It's-
faces.
They
It
still
blows my
don't do it
mind.
to this day, and it's even really painful to see. I mean, as a graduate student at Stony Brook University, I even walking down the street past my old high school, I still see the hate crimes going on.
Yeah.
And especially nowadays in 2012, one would think, especially in New York, that times would be a lot easier for the homosexual community. It really isn't.
Yeah.
No.
It's only, if anything, it's only gotten more it's gotten
It's
more.
maybe better, but it's not.
It's
I don't
still
think we're
poison.
Yeah.
It's still
And
so poisonous with all the words.
With
in
the
it.
internet too, it's just become a lot more aware because we see it all over the place now.
Absolutely. I mean, Facebook, I mean, there's always cyberbullying going on with Facebook. See, now Facebook is great when it's just your friends, but then when bullies and everybody else is getting involved with it.
When they join in.
It's great when you go away to college,
Mm-hmm.
but in my mind, being a high school student, even younger, there's no reason for it. You have to deal with so many pressures of being a teenager, being with social media,
Yeah.
and now a whole aspect of bullying is coming in, and schools are saying, well, we're not covered it because it's not during school, so it's a whole big thing, but it's the reality of it. Honestly, high school students did not have Facebook. It would make their life so much easier.
You're probably right. No doubt in my mind. So when did you come out to your parents, actually?
When I was 13.
Really? How'd they take it?
My mom, like, she was completely fine with it. She just didn't know how to go from handling a heterosexual son to a homosexual son. My brother actually called it out when I was 5 years old, saying that in 8 years he's going to be gay. Sure enough, when I came out, he was like, "Told you so." So it's kind of, my whole family kind of knew.
All right. Well, at least you had that strong support between your friends and your family as well. Now, Matthew, I'm going to move on to you. You're the last of our little group here. Thank you for being here today. Now, you say at a very young age that you just felt you were different and you didn't really fit in with the other boys. Now, were you picked on and bullied as well?
I was. That started in elementary school. All of my friends were always girls, and I used to have my Tonka trucks, and I used to love going out and getting dirty. But then I would go to my friend's house across the street and Barbie fashion shows all the way. It was a lot of fun. But I always felt different because I had the girlfriends and none of the guys really, I didn't relate to them because I didn't like the video games and playing cops and robbers and all these stupid things. But it started with with being called a girl or a sissy, and getting older it went to fag and homo, and just I always had a thick skin. My mother she's very thick skinned, and I was lucky enough to get that from her.
Right.
And as I got older, my skin got thicker and I got more of an attitude, which sometimes got me in trouble, but it helped and it made me pull through.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're obviously a very strong person just by talking to me here. So would you think that your friends and your family combined together, like Trevor was saying, that was his strong support group to help you pull through all this? I mean, what was school like for you? I mean, were you cold?
I had my friends. My friends were always behind me, and I didn't have a very strong family support at home because in my teen years was when my parents were starting to split up, and that pushed me away from them.
Right.
That pushed me towards myself to deal with it on my own. I didn't really have to be defended in school. I was able to defend myself. I never got into physical altercations, anything like that ever. But music was my outlet. I sing. That is my one true outlet. And anybody who knew me knew I engrossed myself in Celine Dion music.
Yeah.
But I wasn't gay.
Yep.
I was straight in high school, but just her power in her voice and some of the messages in her songs were really what got me through. And music is just it's universal and it's for anything, and I think that is what pulled me through everything.
And you're still performing today.
I'm still performing today.
And you're going to perform for
I'm
us
gonna perform
in just
later.
a little bit.
Yes.
So let me ask you, when did you come out to your family?
I was 17. It was the beginning of my senior year of high school, and I told myself I was going to wait until I graduated to come out. I accepted the fact that I was gay when I was a junior, and then by the start of senior year, I didn't care anymore, and it was time. You have that moment where it's time. You feel it. It clicks.
Yeah.
You just know.
You just wanna let it out.
It just happens. Sometimes you don't even plan on it, and it just occurs.
And
Interesting.
I called my best friend. First, I came out as bi, like most of us do.
Everyone does.
And
Yeah.
I called my best friend, and she was like, "Yeah, and nice to meet you." And my other best friend was like, "Get out." Why? I don't know. I don't know. Understand why she didn't know. But progressively. I told my friends, and then I told my mom, and her response was, "Well, at least I can expect grandchildren." Little did she know, 4 months later, I'd be gay. But my family is very supportive. My dad's response was, "Well, don't think this changes your responsibilities around the house. You still have to mow the lawn." So it wasn't a shocking thing.
Right, but it was a happy thing.
It was a happy
You weren't
thing.
disowned, you weren't
Not at all.
kicked out or thrown out like so many others. I mean, I got a couple of stories that for people that were booking later on in the month, but some people are kicked out of their homes. They're turned away by their own families. And the fact that the three of you haven't been, it goes to show that people are still so closed-minded, and there's absolutely no reason to be.
Yeah.
No, there really isn't. Were any of you, Trevor, I'm going to come back to you because I heard from Derek, but did you ever fear acceptance when it was trying to come out? I mean, was that something in the back of your mind that maybe you hid it?
At that point in time, you really don't. I mean, when you're ready to come out, you kind of don't even think about that. You come out for yourself. You can't really worry about what other people are gonna think because you can't control what you're gonna think. All you know is that you are bursting to let yourself out, and then when it finally does come out, you literally feel like you can grow wings and fly. Like when I came out, there was a huge weight off my shoulders. But at that point in time, you can't sit there and think about who is going to accept me, who's not. Either they're going to or they're not.
Right.
And if your friends who, quote, don't accept you, then they weren't your friends to begin with. Unfortunately, we've all gone through that. We've all lost friends over it. But you can't change how people feel. You can only change about how you act. And I purposely did not let myself get into that mindset where I was going to let this control, let the anxiety come to me. So you just have to feel and go for it.
My thing was that I knew it wasn't going to change who I was. I'm still pretty much the same. My personality didn't change ever, and
for you.
probably after I came out, it was probably the best year socially of my life in high school.
That is the plus side to this. I mean,
No,
And
honestly.
I actually chose a really good time to come out. Will and Grace was on TV. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was there.
Grace.
Ellen had just come out a few years before, and then her talk show had just started, so she was becoming big again. Gay was just all over the place.
Yeah.
It was.
Everything
So
was
you had
gay.
a good timing.
I had good timing, so it was easier for my classmates to accept because it was all over the place.
I mean, it's funny to me how we're up here laughing about such a serious subject, but it goes to show that you don't have to be ashamed of who you are. You could be here having fun as well, being who you are exactly, not hiding who you are. So this is a really good thing. But we're going to actually take a quick break here. When we come back, Matthew is going to perform for us because he is part of the Long Island Gay Men's Chorus. He's going to sing a little song for us when we come back. We'll be right back. Matthew is actually going to perform a song for us that you actually written, right?
No, I actually did not write this song. It's by a Canadian artist named Mark Manzery. It's called See My Face. In my eyes, when I was listening to the lyrics, it's a song about perseverance. And I felt like it was me talking to myself as a closeted gay person and then as someone who has already come out.
Excellent. Well, the stage is yours. Take it away.
Rather on the great
Looking for a truth untold. Many times you've been close to breaking, giving up and letting go. Something inside says it's not over. For every time you fall apart, there'll be a soul to guide your journey. But if you choose to turn away, there in the mirror, you'll see my face. You'll see my face. And when the world crowds your space, remember days when noise was silent, no empty mouths, loveless displays. Just a sense of knowing you'll see my face. You'll see my face. Thank you.
Yay. Matthew, excellent job. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I got tears in my eyes. Oh my goodness. Such a beautiful song. Thank you. I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of my guests for being here today. Trevor, Derek, and Matthew, excellent job with that song once again. If you are a teen who's struggling with your sexuality and you're being bullied and you feel like there is no way out, there is. Please log on to www. We have the website right there. glsbli.com, or contact the Gay and Lesbian Switchboard at 631-665-3700. They're here to help, and so are we. Log on to our website as well. It's in the credits. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Yay. That was so great. I loved it. Thank you.